Our third lesson in frequency is silence. This is the toughest lesson because there are times when we want desperately to hear from God and He goes silent. And a lot of times students will think these moments in their lives will be moments where God doesn't care about them or God doesn't see them or God is absent. But that is not true. God is silent for a purpose and for a reason. And this silence is there to teach us something. This silence isn't a sense of abandonment, but this silence is about teaching us patience. You know, God has an eternity view of our lives. We tend to think of our lives as being in 4 years. Like high school students tend to think of their lives as just as 4 years of high school and then 4 years of college, and then they don't know what's after that, right? But God thinks of our lives in terms of a billion, gazillion eternity years. And so what God is doing in our lives is not really easy for us to understand sometimes. When God is silent, the best thing for us to do is to be patient and to continue to seek Him. This seeking of Him can be some complaining. It can be some begrudgingness. We can tell God how we feel. We want Him to speak. We haven't heard Him. It's frustrating to us. But at the same time, we need to say, Lord, I'm sticking with you. I believe that you have my best. And I believe that this silent period that I'm going through will eventually help me hear your voice even more clearly. Because when He speaks out of the silence is when you can be sure that He's talking to you. There's this great verse in Psalms 28, 1 and 2. This passage is David kind of lamenting and talking about the fact that he hasn't heard God's voice and how that silence is affecting him. Students probably can connect pretty powerfully with this. This is going to be a hard thing to connect, but this understanding that God's silence is not equal to abandonment, but God's silence is trying to develop in us spiritual patience is something that students really need to understand. It's deep stuff. It's maturity stuff. But if you can help them understand this, you will be preparing them for a spiritual journey that will actually allow them to really grow during those times. God is silent sometimes because He wants us to seek Him on a deeper level. He wants us to pursue Him on a deeper level. This idea to students will be hard to understand, but if we teach this to them, they will really be able to grow. God's silence can be frustrating and difficult sometimes. Share that with God, but never abandon Him.